Welcome to week 6, Ravens flock. And that hope you had a great week. Hope everything went well for you. Happy Purple Friday. Now, let's start by saying I just want to start by saying thank you. Thank you all for all the support, the likes, the questions, the remarks, everything on Twitter. Thank you all so much for supporting the Ravens medical content I try to put out, and I'm going to try to put more out there, and get more multiple in the way I do things. So yeah, this is a period of discovery of what this channel can be, and I really appreciate you guys going on the ride with me. But our Ravens are facing an upstart Giants team that pulled a huge upset against the Packers in London last weekend. But in doing so, they picked up some major injuries as well too. And of course, their quarterback Daniel Jones, he was playing on a high ankle sprain, which is not good. He was barely able to move. Rolled him out a little bit, but it really wasn't good. He was not able to, run the way he normally is. Because Daniel Jones is an athletic quarterback. He was not able to run and pick up first downs the way he normally did. We saw Saquon Barkley go out a little bit earlier with a shoulder injury. It turned out to be an AC joint sprain, grade 1, but he returned to the game. He's such a competitor; he wanted to be out there, but it lingered throughout the week, and a lot of people thought he wouldn't be able to go. And also, they're down to like their third string wide receivers because of the injury bug. Now they're just as dinged up as we are, if not more. But this has all the makings of a trap game. The Ravens should beat the Giants this week, but they're 4-1 for some reason, and Brian Dable is proving that he was indeed the right hire. Now, now they're hurting just like we are, so let's go ahead and jump right into the checkup for this week, so we can find out who's playing and who is not playing for both us and for the Giants. So we're going to start off as we normally do with our injury report. Now it's pretty much it's smaller than last week, which got everybody, which is everybody is so happy about. But yeah, but we're still going to be missing some key cogs. I see active Ronnie Stanley, the first name being active. Yep, he once again he didn't practice on Wednesday. He gets Wednesdays off. Those are evaluation days for him, rest days for him, and but he registered 2 full practices, and he doesn't have an injury. He doesn't have a designation, which means he's active. Kevin Zeitler, he popped up on the injury report, and everybody was worried. Oh my God, our right guard is on. Our starting right guard is on there. Nope, it's just not injury related, just rest as well. Same goes with Jason Pierre-Paul and also the Juice Man himself, Marcus Peters. They're all expected to play. These were just scheduled maintenance days, veteran days off. So not much to be concerned about there. So good that we have those guys on board now. No questionable people this week, but we have a doubtful. Justice Hill, just like I said last week, he did return to practice, but he still has some soreness and some tenderness in that hamstring. And as I mentioned in my training room, it's the junction between where the skeletal muscle and where the tendon where they meet that myotendinous junction. There's still a lot of soreness and some mild inflammation there, from what I'm hearing. And he was able to put in some work, and he was able to practice. As you see right there on the thing, you can't really see it too well there, but you see he didn't practice and got into limited sessions. We're just going to be cautious with him because of the soreness and tenderness and the inflammation. So expect him to sit out. So grade 1 hamstring strains like that, they have a 1 to 2 week recovery timeline anyway. So he'll just miss his second game. That's fine. That's fine. He's right on track. He could return against the Browns next week. Now, same 3 people are out. Justin Houston, he's out with the adductor strain. Now, I believe it's either the adductor longus and also, or it could be the adductor magnus, who are the 2 bigger adductor muscles in the groin. And And Justin Houston is going to miss his third straight game. This is on par. Adductor strains, especially adductor longest strains, they hold people out 3 to 6 weeks. So he's right on there too. Now, will he play against the Browns next week? I don't know. He has a return to practice in some form because he's missed practice 2 straight weeks, and I really don't. And I really right now I don't think he'll play. And if he doesn't play against the Browns, don't expect him to play against the Bucks because that's too quick of a turnaround from Sunday going straight to Thursday. Nah, we have 2 games back to back, so he could miss. So he could miss 4 games. Um, Same like Rashad Bateman, who's in the boat. He indeed suffered a Liz Frank injury. Now, originally I thought it was just the cuneiform and also the cuneo-avicular ligaments in his foot, but it has been confirmed he does have a grade 1 Liz Frank injury. That kind of muddies up the timeline. Now, as I told you, mid foot sprains normally have a 2 to 4 week recovery timeline. But when the Liz Frank gets involved, it pushes it out to a 4 to 6 weeks. As I also mentioned in the training room on this injury. Now, I'm not gonna waste time. I'm gonna rule him out for October. I think he's gonna miss. He's going to miss this game. I fully expect Rashad Bateman, to miss the Bucks and the Brown and the Bucks games. So it may be 5 weeks until we see him back. He may return to practice next week, but he will probably not do drills. He will just be doing conditioning and starting to rehab that left foot because he's missed 6 straight practices. There's no way. There's no way I see him playing against in week 7 or week 8. So yeah, that's not good. Ben Cleveland misses his second straight game. Grade 1 foot sprains like that have a recovery timeline of 1 to 3, so he's within the window. Now, if he misses next week, then that would be the maximum. But if he goes beyond that, then it could be worse than just a grade 1. But right now, I still believe this is a grade 1 foot sprain for Ben Cleveland. He's the backup, so he hasn't played much. It's good that we have some depth at the guard spot. Going back to Ronnie Stanley for a quick minute, he will play more snaps, but it's still going to be a left tackle by committee with him and Patrick McCarry. So look out for that, and we're going to keep we got to keep those Giants on their toes, so because we don't know, so they won't know who's coming in and who's coming out. So look for a bit of a gamesmanship going forward there. Now the Giants they said they have just been ravaged by injuries, especially in three key rooms: the wide receiver core, their D line, no wide receiver, their wide receiver room, their secondary, and also their front seven have definitely been ravaged by that thing. You can see right here on their injury on their backup. So their backup corner, Cordell Flott, he has a calf injury. He's out. Kenny Galladay has been dealing with that knee injury for weeks. So he's out as well. An old friend, Tony Jefferson, who was picked up by the Giants, he is also out. Now he was actually elevated to the active roster, but he's dealing with a foot bruise, I believe, and so he's out. One of their backup safeties, Jason Pinnock, he has an ankle sprain, so he's out. Kadarius Toney has been dealing with injuries on and off, so right now he's dealing with a hamstring strain, and that's kept him out. One of their stud linebackers, Aziz Ojulari, he has a calf strain, and that's been keeping him out. He's doubtful. Some thought he'd be able to go, but in my estimation, I don't think he'll be able to. Now, who's questionable is Tanner Hudson. He's dealing with an illness. It's a non-COVID illness. I don't know exactly what it is, but he is questionable. He may be able to go if he's feeling better. Hopefully, they get some fluids in him. Hopefully, he's feeling better, Dave. So he's touch and go at this point. They're getting one of their versatile weapons back in Wandale Robinson. He's been dealing with a knee injury that's held him out, I believe, 2 to 3 weeks. But so getting him back in the would definitely help them a lot. And also one of their key defensive linemen, Leonard Williams. He's been dealing with a knee injury that kept him out for about 2 weeks. Now he could potentially go. He was able to get a couple of limited sessions in, but right now he's going flip. No one really knows. And as I mentioned before, Daniel Jones, not only he's dealing with a high ankle sprain, a mild one, and also, as we saw in London, his hand was bleeding, and it just continued throughout the week. So he has a hand contusion. He has a right hand contusion, his throwing hand, and he's dealing with that left high ankle sprain. So, but all reports saying that he's active. He's going to go. He's got some grit in him, and but I don't expect him to move that much. And their most dynamic player right now, Saquon Barkley, he suffered a grade 1 right AC joint sprain. That is right here. That's right here. That's your acromyoclavicular joint, or AC as it's called. It's right here. It goes from this joint right here connects your shoulders. It connects the humerus, and also it houses the labrum and stuff like that. So he sprained it. So he sprained it in London. He went out, but he came back in after getting it stretched out. So he is going to go too, but we need to monitor that because that could hold him back. So we don't know, but yep, their main offensive weapon is going to play. So we need to do our best to contain him. Now we both made some moves. We both made a lot of moves. The Ravens have been making a lot of moves for the past couple of weeks, and so has the Giants because of the injuries. Now last week I had Andy Isabella was signed to the practice squad. He didn't because there was some dispute over money or something like that. As Engraven Vid said, and he was right. But now he officially signed to the practice squad, and in doing so, in parallel move, we released Bailey Gaither, who we did sign last week to the corp. Andy Isabella is a with him on the so with him, he's played a bit more recently with the Cardinals, and that's who we got him from after they released him. So he could give us a bit more dynamicism in the slot. So that's why we did. So that's why we released Bailey Gaither, and of course we placed Marcus Williams, who dislocated his wrist last game, on the IR. It is a 2 to 4 month recovery timeline. So we could get him back later in the season, which is good. And it's a good thing that it's not season ending, because if it was season ending, he would need an open wrist reduction internal fixation surgery that would have ended his season. So if we wanted to, I expect they're going to splint his wrist. They're probably going to give him some anti-inflammatory medication, and then he'll start PT somewhere in 4 to 6 weeks. Or if they want to go the surgical route, he can have what's known as a closed wrist reduction, where we pretty much just whichever bone in the wrist is dislocated, we'll probably just shift it right back into spot right there, and they just pull it right back in the spot to complete the puzzle. So yep, and once again, and in a parallel move, once again we release Daryl Worley. He's getting the Geno Smith treatment, but as we saw, Geno Smith, when he got his chance to be on the full roster, he's been balling out. So Daryl Worley, keep your tips up, man. Stay ready, so you don't got to get ready, because we keep bringing you back. We obviously see something to you. So hey, it's a good thing that we have him out there. And as I mentioned in one of my Flock ER videos, we designated linebacker Tyus Bowser, who's coming back from Achilles tear, and also David Ojabo, who's come back from Achilles tear, to return to practice. Now, that does not mean that they're activated. What I didn't make clear in that Flock ER video is we designated them to return to practice, which means they entered into the 21-day practice window. Now, we activated Gus Edwards on, I believe, October 5th, so he's fine. He doesn't. So he's not affected by that window anymore. He's on the active roster. But Tyus Bowser and David Ojabo are. Now we have 21 days to sign them to the active roster. If we don't, they revert back to the PUP list for the remainder of the season. That would end their season, which is not good. And I expect us to potentially bring back Tyus Bowser, even though he didn't practice today. I think we may sign Tyus Bowser back to the active roster. David Ojabo, I've stayed firm on this, and I believe we should just leave him on the PUP list, redshirt him, and also so he can be ready for 2023. Um, Also, an update on tight end Charlie Kolar, who had sports hernia surgery. He is expected back in mid-November. That's what I'm hearing. Mid-November. So he could be like another weapon. We can have. He's a great blocker, great inline blocker. He has pretty decent hands, not to the level of Isaiah Likely, who's a way better receiver than Charlie Kolar, but he's a solid tight end, really a solid tight end. Now the Giants made a lot of moves as well. As I said, they signed Tony Jefferson to the active roster, but he's ruled out with a foot injury, so that's unfortunate. Now they also brought up Marcus Johnson because of all the injuries to the wide receivers, and a practice teamer, uh, Davis Webb, because Tyrod Taylor is still their backup. Tyrod Taylor is still in concussion protocol, so he'll be the backup this week to Daniel Jones. They even signed Robert Foster, I believe, from the 49ers to their practice squad because of all the injuries to their wide receiver core. They are just beat up. Their wide receiver core is like he's throwing the deck chairs and lawn furniture. But no, but Richie James has been a revelation. He's been really good. I think they have Sterling Shepard back, so we need to watch him. Kenny Galladay just doesn't look like he wants to be there. So and he's injured. So hopefully, there's been no sign that they elevated him. They have until Saturday at 4 to elevate him. They may, but so we'll monitor that. And also, like us, they placed their fifth round rookie who they got in the draft this year, DJ Davison. He's an interior defensive lineman. Unfortunately, he ruptured his ACL and he is out for the season. So that is it. So he was placed on injury reserve, and that really sucks for him because he was a really solid player in college and looked like he could have made a difference had he not been injured. So, yep, that's the injury analysis for all of our guys. Now we we're getting healthier and some reinforcements are coming, which is good, but we're still missing some key cogs. Um, like I said, Rashad Bateman. So Rashad Bateman, as I said on Twitter, I'm ruling him out for the month. Um, he won't play against the Browns. Probably won't play. Most likely won't play against the Bucks. Um, Hopefully, we may be able to get Justin Houston back, but the way it looks, I mean, he's hit the window. Said this is his third game. Like I said, 3 to 6 weeks. This is his third game that he's missing. So maybe we get him back, but he has to practice in some form, in some shape, form, or fashion, because him and Rashad have missed 6 straight practices over 2 straight weeks. So that's it. So that's not good. We need him for outside linebacker depth. Justice Hill's working his way back. We're going to be precautious with him. His like the hamstring it's there, but it's not there yet. Just want to make sure get some of that residual soreness out. And Ben Cleveland is still a mystery. But I believe it's a grade 1 foot sprain, and he'll miss this week. Potentially he'll play next week, but if he doesn't, then they probably have to reevaluate, and maybe we bring in another offensive lineman or someone who can play guard. So, yep, that is it. Yep, those are the injuries for week 6. Hopefully, we can pull out a win and we don't fall into this potential trap game. So, we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully, we can beat these upstart Giants, knock them down to 4-2, so we can go to 4-2 and still stay in first place in the AFC North. Once again, this is Mills RX. Leave a like down below. Subscribe to the Ravens Medical channel if you like If you want to updates on Ravens players, injuries, updates, I post a little bit. I post a little bit. You can also follow me on Twitter at Game Medicine. Follow me there. Um, and so yeah, if you want Ravens medical content, that's what I try to do. And once again, Mills RX. Have a great weekend. Go Ravens.